Hello and welcome to November's poetry prompt video. My prompt this month was paint the sky, and there we go. And I am doing this a little bit differently this month because usually I film the process and then I narrate over the top of it after the poem's all written and everything like that. I go back and narrate after the event, but I thought I would do it in the moment this month. We will see how it goes. It could be a disaster, but I just thought I would. I think part of that is because I have an idea where the poem's going, so I sort of have in my head how I'm going to go about this. Usually I don't. It's kind of I find out as I start writing. So I had two ideas for the message of this poem, Paint the Sky. Either I would have it like my poem Daydream, which is climb a ladder to the moon with me, let's play amongst the night. And sort of really thinking about it whimsically, as in if you really could paint the sky, you know, painting rainbows and clouds and stars and that kind of thing. But I wasn't sure if it would be a little bit too similar to Daydream. And then the other idea for the message that I had was The Sky Is Not Blue. Again, I have got a poem actually called Blue. This guy came to school with me yesterday and he wasn't quite sure what to do, but the people in charge said, don't worry, because he knew how to be blue. The message of the poem is basically that the sky is so many more things than just blue. But it was more, I wrote that poem more as a sort of observation of the education system. So it was actually less about the sky and more about how people don't recognise all the different colours it can be. And it wasn't actually about the colours. That poem talks more about the clouds and the snow and the lightning and the thunder. And so I thought, actually, why don't we go for the fact that the sky is lots of different colours and that this can be like us. Like our true colours don't need to be just blue or just pink or just green. They can be anything. This also actually links to my in school thing. So when I do workshops in school, the title for the older children is The Sky Is Not Blue, and we go through writing a poem that sort of enables the reader to change their perception of the sky a little bit. So this is what I thought I would have as my kind of message. Yeah, the sky is not blue, it's lots of different colours. But of course, now I need to think about which colours it is. So I've brought my colouring pencils here. I thought it would be handy to actually use colours. So this is a slightly different, like I say, a slightly different way of me coming up with the poem. But this is what I'm going with this time. So, first of all, obviously the sky is blue. But I don't want to focus too much on that. Obviously, I'll have to mention it. But I think I don't want to spend too much time on that. For me, when I'm writing, it's always about challenging our perception of what we think. So when I'm in school, for example, I sort of say to the children, what colour is the sky? And they say blue. Then I tell them a little short poem. And the idea is that it challenges their thinking to recognise that sometimes the sky isn't blue. So the little poem is about nighttime, basically. So then they say, oh, actually, sometimes the sky can be black. And then we look at, well, what happens when the sun rises? It can be all those different colours. What happens if you look at the northern lights? Sometimes it can be purple and green. So this is the idea, to kind of challenge perceptions of what we think the sky is. So yes, it's blue. And it kind of tends to, if we think about the course of the day, I'm thinking it starts, obviously if it's a terribly grey day, this doesn't happen at all, but it tends to start often quite misty and pale, almost grey, I suppose, actually. So but then as the day develops, it becomes clearer, it becomes brighter, and it's that sort of light pale blue, I suppose, that then deepens as we approach the evening, deepens into kind of darkness, I suppose, dark blue and then black. All my thoughts are running away from me really quickly now, because I'm thinking, okay, so that's before the blue, but it's also obviously clouds and grey clouds. But I'm just thinking, actually, before it deepens into black, here, I'm thinking of a sunset. So I'm going to need sort of, I don't seem to have orange here, but I've got like reds and yellows, and maybe somewhere in the middle I can create an orange. What's this colour? That's just more red. Okay, so reds, oranges and yellows. Obviously that can happen for sunrise as well. I quite like the idea that it's like a blaze of glory, like the day goes out in a blaze of glory, maybe, or the sky retreats in a blaze of glory. So the day goes out, the sky retreats. That's what I'm kind of thinking. And then I don't actually have a black colouring pencil, so I'll leave this. And then it becomes night. So this is 1, 2, 3. So this is the fourth colour of the day. I'm not just going to sort of go, oh, first the sky is grey and then it's blue, and then it obviously I'll elaborate on these ideas, but for now this will do. But yeah, so then it's black. I suppose where this is kind of brightened, alive almost, this is sort of dark and not dead, but sort of like quiet, restful, peaceful. But I suppose we still do have these little specks of gold and brightness. I think gold's actually quite a good, because you have like a golden, you sort of think of sunrises as golden often, the sun as golden, and then you have these golden or silver, or I guess however they look really to you. It's almost like no, not the darkness, almost like the night has its own light, I suppose. I think things like that can sort of show the complexity and the depth and the nuance of something like the sky. So yeah, so I think I'm just thinking of other colours. I suppose there is the Northern Lights as well. Not sure whether I will include this. Sometimes they're a bit pink and purple actually as well, so let's just do some. I just wanted to colour in really. I just want to do something different. So yeah, I'm not sure whether I will include these, just because it's, for me, I mean, you might live in a place that's lucky enough to see these all the time, but for me this is not something that happens on a regular basis. Living right in the centre of the UK, about as far away from the coast as you could possibly get in the UK, I do not see the Northern Lights very often. We did actually get them quite a bit last year, or earlier this year. There was about a week where they were really prevalent if you looked out, but you had to be up at sort of 2 a.m, and that's not for me. So I am really fortunate though that I have seen the Northern Lights. I've seen them in Finland once, and Norway. So I feel like I've had a little bit of a fix at some point. So I guess I do like the idea though that that the Northern Lights are kind of dancing, that they're alive even in the sort of dead of night. Well, like that, alive in dead of night. I bet I probably won't even use it now, but I'll bookmark that for a future poem perhaps if I don't use it now. Because what I'm thinking is to make this as accessible as possible for someone's regular day. So I suppose what this is showing is a sort of like a cycle. So it's a cycle of life. It's like always moving. Like it doesn't stand still. I like that actually. It doesn't stand still. And it's not constant. Like the sky itself is constant, but its state is not constant. And I think that's important for us to think about, is that we are always ourselves, we are always enough as we are always inherently us, but the state of our emotions or the place we are in life or on a journey in terms of, I don't know, our career or our relationships or whatever, they're always moving, changing, evolving. And I think that, no, because the sky doesn't really evolve. I was going to write evolve then, but that's us. So yeah, I think that's important. I think I want to make sure that that's kind of recognised. Obviously I need to make sure at some point I talk about this, like the sky is painted in so many colours or with so many colours, because that's the title of it. And then I suppose I need to, like I've spoken before about how I try and mirror or match from like one half of the poem to the other. So if I look at this here, this is the sky, but then perhaps I need to look at what this means for us as well. So if we start with the grey. Do we have a grey maybe? Oh, actually, do you know what I'm thinking? Is the golden coming up, the sun. Yeah, the sun coming up could be golden, and then the blaze of glory can be when it goes out. So it's almost actually like this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I'm gonna have like grey, gold, blue, fiery colours, a bit of both here, and then night time. And then Northern Lights is kind of, this is all I'm thinking with this, it's kind of like a separate part. So I'm not sure, but okay, let's go with it. So I'm not sure about this one yet. I'm thinking a bit like a sunrise. This is our brightening, sort of beginning to shine, which I suppose I should have left far more space for notes here, but never mind. I suppose as a person, when I think of bright, shiny, or people that are glowing, I think of sort of laughing, laughter, and just general sort of like, they're kind, I suppose. Blue I always see as quite calm, steady, so this would relate to people. I suppose the blue sky is that everyday thing, that sort of nothing spectacular but absolutely needed. I won't word it like that in the poem. We are nothing spectacular. Of course we're spectacular. But that's the kind of idea behind it, I think. Oh, just like keeps the world spinning is what I'm thinking about. Okay, I can see why often I would narrate afterwards, because I'm struggling to speak and write at the same time. And then this is our fire, I suppose. This one I think is like our anger, our passion, our bravery, I suppose, all those sort of big, bold emotions. The sort of almost like can't be contained emotions. And then we've got our darkness, I suppose. That, because we always have darkness and dark times, all of us. I suppose then the stars are our reminder that to keep hope, I suppose, is the thing, and hold on for brighter tomorrow, maybe something like that, because then that sort of brings us all the way around to the beginning. I don't know if I want to say that we're grey. Really? I don't know how to. We'll just see with that one. We'll just see. And then I need to bring that together. So this is reminding me of Distant Shores, the poem that I wrote, where it was very much like one half then the other half, and then bringing them together. So now I need to do the bringing together part, really. I wonder if... oh, here we go, I could write on this. So... Sorry. Let me move these out of the way. Put them there. That's it. So... I am thinking... Oh, well, I'm thinking this looks like a rainbow as well, which perhaps I need to mention somewhere. Grey clouds, perhaps. Just references to colour in the sky. I think as well, actually thinking about a rainbow, it's that, it often is showing, or it's often against the grey, isn't it? It's this idea that that can be lots of different colours at once, that the picture is much bigger than just one thing. Yeah. And also, I think one of the things about rainbows for me is that they are the result of like seemingly opposite things, seemingly opposing things. So you've got sunshine and so like a contradiction. It's like the result of a contradiction, really, for me. That you would have two opposites that then create this beautifully colourful thing. Maybe, again, like us. That's perhaps our beauty. Perhaps our contradictions are create something beautiful within us, maybe. Yeah, okay, so now I need to bring them together. So I think it's definitely going to be two parts and then a rounding up. So I'm thinking about that poem, my poem Blue, and it's about us telling, or us sort of being there for the sky, but maybe what if it was the other way around? So sort of maybe sky. Maybe the sky is trying to tell us something, maybe the sky's trying to tell us we're not meant to just be one thing. Just be one thing. And then I suppose, so I've covered what these are, so I'm not going to repeat myself because I have a tendency of doing that. So I want to look at this idea that not constant. That it's the same thing, but it's shifting. So shifting's a good word, actually. We're not meant to just be one thing. We're meant to shift. Meant to shift. I suppose there's this idea of moving through the colours, so kind of blending or seamlessly from one thing to the next. Meant to shift, to blend seamlessly, or should I just I'll write it and do a question mark. To blend, no. Immediate, no. We're not meant to just be one thing, we're meant to shift, to blend, to not to be a contradiction, to something contradictions and still be beautiful. Yeah. Okay, to hold, to maybe hold contradictions and still be beautiful. And then, so this is about us, and then just again to keep referencing back to the sky, so like calm and storm, maybe that's always a lovely default one to go for. Calm, storm, rainbow grey, like I've put here. Okay, I like that little bit at the end there. And then a sort of call to action, I suppose. So the call to action would be to stop boxing ourselves in, I suppose. Let's stop not boxing ourselves in because the sky isn't boxed. I suppose it's just, I suppose it doesn't try to be blue, it's just what we've assumed it to be. So let's stop trying to be only one thing, I think, because we sort of have told ourselves that we should put ourselves in a box and we don't need to. Let's be like the sky. Oh. And then like wild, I like that. Stay wild, that's always one of my things that I write if I'm asked to sign a book and someone just says I'll leave the message up to you, especially if it's one of my first couple of books. I'll just write stay wild. Wild, what else is it? Full of light, I suppose, because I've said that even in, I'm not going to use the Northern Lights, I don't think. Well, I'm just going to save this bit here because another one, but I think not for us. Full of light, because like here, even the stars. So there's light in the brightening, there's light in the fire, there's light in the dark, even though it's just the stars. Maybe I can find some sort of light in the blue. I'll have a think. Full of light, full of contradiction, maybe. Just challenging this idea that things like that, like contradictions, are a bad thing. Not necessarily. It actually just says we're multifaceted. Full of light, full of contradiction. Wild, full of light. I'm going to swap these around actually, finish on the light thing. Wild, full of contradiction. No, not full of contradiction. Contradictory. Let's maybe try that. Wild, contradictory, and full of light. Full of the light we've gathered in the dark, maybe? In the dark? Oh, shade. I like the word. Oh, I like the idea of shade here. Like, because you've got shade, like in dark, but then also the different shades of colour that we've gathered in the. No, but that doesn't make sense. That we've gathered. That we've gathered from the shade. We've gathered from. That we've gathered from the shade. This doesn't make sense. And full of the light, we've gathered from every shade we've ever been. Every shade we've ever been. Let's stop trying to be only one thing. Let's be like the sky. Wild, contradictory, and full of the light we've gathered from every shade we've ever been. Yes, I like that. Full of light, full of life. Because I like the idea of the fact that all these shades just make up life. Okay, so that's kind of the end of the poem though. How am I going to start it? What did I have on this one? Oh, I think I want to talk about the sky first and then how it's ever changing, and then go on to how we're like the sky and then bring it together. So let's just start with, quite simply, the sky is not just one colour. I think is a good start. So the beginning of the day. So it wakes in a fog of grey. So it wakes in a fog of grey, and then stretches, because I'm thinking we wake, we stretch. It's grey stretches into gold, maybe, or into, yeah, I'll just put into gold for now, not change that. Stretches into gold and deep, oh no, because that's, no, but maybe deepens into blue. No, shifts, no, blends into blue. I like, and blends into blue. I like the alliteration of that, and blends into blue. Oh no, and then I need to say goes out in a blaze of glory and blends into blue. Waits in a fog of grey, stretches in the gold and blends into blue before going out in a blaze of, maybe glory's not the thing though, I'm just stuck on that phrase, but maybe blaze of fire to reference the colours, because I've got grey, gold, blue. Fire doesn't necessarily talk of colours, but instead of a blaze of red, orange, yellow, fire. Unless I do a blaze of fire. Reds, red, orange, yellow. Maybe I do that. Even the night, dark, quiet and peaceful. I often work in threes when I use adjectives. I think it's a hangover from school. 2 seems too few and more than 3 seems too many. So that's what I'll stick to. Even the night, dark, quiet and peaceful, has its own light. Its own kind of light. Its own kind of light. So that's done that part. Don't need that. So then we're here. The sky doesn't stand still. Or never stands still for long, maybe. Never stands still for long. Because sometimes it will be blue for a while. It will be grey for a while. It will be golden for a couple of hours as the sun rises or sets. So the sky never stands still for long. It shows, because I've written about this later, the sky never stands still for long, painted in so many colours that we cannot help but stare, or something like that. Cannot help but stare. Cannot stare at it. Not sure about the at it there at the end. Painted in so many colours that we cannot help but stare at it. No, I don't like stare at it. I don't like the at. That we cannot help but stare. Yeah. And we are the same. No, actually, and we are not so different, because we aren't the same exactly, but we are not so different. So, okay, so that's like part one. So this is part one on this page. Then this is part two, and then this is part three. So I've just got to do this is part three. So now I just need to pad out part two, and I am pretty much there. Here it was, perfect. So, so how did that end? And we are not so different. We have our grey. I'm not sure what that's going to be. We have our grey. We have our what did I say for that? Wait, maybe it's got, we're not meant to be just one thing. No, that's part three. That's part three. This must be part one. Okay, that got confusing for a moment. Right, grey, gold. So I want to match. We have our gold. Our new beginnings, like a sunrise. Our new beginnings. Those bright moments that allow us to shine. Moments of... Oh no, actually, something about catching the light. Moments when our laughter and our kindness catches the light. Just so? Catches the light just so. Yeah, I like that. Okay. That one done. We have our blue. We have our 3 times now, so I might change that when I read it back, but definitely change it on the next little part. We have our blue, our calm, steady days. That keep the world spinning. That keep the world spinning. by, how do they keep the world spinning? Simply by being there, I suppose. Yeah, okay, so blue is done. Right, we have our, need to change this. Then comes the fire. Then comes the fire. Anger. Our anger. Passion. Or maybe flashes of, if we're talking about fire, flashes of, or sparks of. Running out of room. Sparks. Flashes of anger, passion, bravery. The parts of us. Okay, it's true they can't be contained, but I don't want it to sound like they overwhelm us so much that we're still kind of in control. So instead of can't be contained, refuse to be contained. I feel like refusing is a decision. Can't is kind of like out of our control. So parts of us that refuse to be contained. No, not contained. For small, maybe. The parts of us that refuse to be small. Okay. And then it just leaves the dark. So, and then there's the dark. Running out of room. And then there's the dark. And then there's the dark nights too, maybe. And then there's the dark nights too. And then there's the dark nights too. What have I put? Quiet and peaceful, has its own kind of light. And there's the dark nights too. But even then there are stars. There are stars. Always something. So I want it to sort of say that there's always something there. Always something there. I've got space anywhere. Here. Always something there. Glowing, shining, reminding us to keep going. Something about like new day will dawn. New day will dawn. Okay. Yeah. So this is part 2, isn't it? Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. So we've got part 1. The sky's not just one colour. It wakes in a fog of grey, stretches into gold and blends into blue before going out in a blaze of fire. Red, orange, yellow. Oh, I don't know about saying that now. This is why we always read and edit at the end. Before going out in a blaze of fire. Even the night, dark, quiet and peaceful, has its own kind of light. The sky never stands still for long, painted in so many colours that we cannot help but stare. And we are not so different. We have our grey. I think I'm just going to leave that bit out actually, because I don't know how to relate us to kind of like foggy grey. And we are not so different. We have our gold, our new beginning, so those bright moments that allow us to shine, moments when our laughter and our kindness catches the light, just so. We have our blue, our calm, steady days that keep the world spinning simply by being there. Then comes the fire, the sparks of passion, the sparks of anger, passion, bravery, the parts of us that refuse to be small. And then there's the dark nights too, but even then there are stars, always something there, glowing, shining, reminding us to keep going, reminding us that a new day will dawn. Maybe the sky is trying to tell us something. Or maybe that's what the sky is trying to tell us. Maybe that's what the sky is trying to tell us, that we're not meant to just be one thing. We're meant to shift, to blend, to hold contradictions and still be beautiful. Like the calm amongst the storm. Like the calm amongst the storm and the rainbow against the grey. So let's stop trying to be only one thing. Let's be like the sky, wild, contradictory and full of the light we've gathered from every shade we've ever been. Full of light, full of life. As always, I'm sure there will be changes when I type it up, but hopefully they'll be minimal. I hope you've enjoyed this little poetry prompt process video, and there will be another one in December. I can't guarantee that this one will have colouring pencils. But until then, goodbye.